Okay, we are going live on YouTube. So I'm going to hit the button here. All right.
And
you
did
guys
Priscilla,
can.
Sue, and Julie show up?
Sue is here, but Priscilla and Julie are not here. Maybe there was parking issues. I don't know.
Okay.
But I have Sue and Nita and Jerry and Janet. And get you guys all ready to go. We made it. All right, we're getting ready. I'll have a seat. Oh, he'll be right back. We'll have him close the door when he comes back in. We'll have Jerry. Jerry will be right back after these messages. All right, let's scoot towards the front of your seat and walk those feet forward a little bit to get those ankles right underneath your knees.
I'm sorry, you guys were having a little technical difficulties. I'm not sure if she realizes I've muted her. Let me see if she'll unmute.
Yeah. Am I back on?
Yes, thank you so much.
I thought something weird was happening, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I've been having technical difficulties all day. The internet is out in like South Reno, and I take Zoom wherever I go, wherever I teach. So, all right. So we're going to work on just focusing on how we're holding our spine today, just a little more awareness. So we're going to do this one time. You're just going to inhale the shoulders forward and up, back and down, and then let them stay. And then just be aware of your position right now, how you are sitting. And find your breath. Don't try to change anything right now. Be comfortable. And just find a gentle breath. Let it be smooth and easy. If the body feels like it wants a deeper breath, invite it in slowly so it can go more deep. And feel the body relax as you exhale. And feeling the spine rise up out of that pelvic bowl, kind of lifting gently through the top of your head. So just inviting a little length into your spine from the base of your seat to the top of your head. And then you're going to roll your shoulders forward, up, back, and down one more time. Well, we'll do it many more times, but just for now, one time. And we're going to allow those elbows to be drawn back so that they hang underneath the shoulders, to keep the front of the chest a little more open. And then we're going to focus on the rib cage. So if you visualize your rib cage that moves all around your body like a bell, right? Like a bell shaped. And try to level out the bottom rim of your bell. So notice if your spine is moved so that the bell of your rib cage swings a little more forward, or if you feel a little more rounded and the bell of the rib cage kind of swings a little more back. And then try to find this level sensation of the bottom of your rib cage. And then you're going to drift your head back as if there's a headrest but the headrest is in line with the space between your shoulder blades. Just drift your head back like you're going to find that headrest. Because usually in our cars, the headrest is pushed forward. I don't know if you've noticed that. It pushes you forward. Lean back. I guess they don't want us to fall asleep while we drive. But lean back a little bit. So we're counterposing what we often do throughout our day. So it's not going to feel very natural. But what we want to do is line up the spine in a way that it naturally holds the head in this midline space or your plumb line. The further your head flows forward off of that midline, the greater force of gravity is on your neck. So drift your head back a little bit so the ears float over the shoulders. It might feel a little uncomfortable. And then again, without moving the spine, roll your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. So now we're having the chest nice and open without overdoing it in the spine, like overdoing a big back bend. We just want those shoulders open, but the bell of the rib cage level. And then find your breath here. This might feel a little unnatural, a little uncomfortable. Find your breath here. We'll return to this throughout the class, the more aware we come of the body. Let's do some drifting forward and back. So keeping that spine nice and tall and moving just the pelvic bowl, drift forward. And then drift back. But you're not rounding your spine or overextending. So the bell of that rib cage is nice and level. Can add a little breathing. So exhale as you drift back, really engaging that core, and inhale as you drift slightly forward. But we want your head in line with your spine. So if you had a broomstick attached to your body, you would not be rounding your spine or overextending, doing a back bend. So you're feeling your core work to stabilize your spine as you're rocking forward and back. Okay. And then conversely, we'll add the cat-cow movement just to see the difference of how we move our rib cage. So when you lean forward, go ahead and swing the bell of the rib cage forward, roll your shoulders up, back, and down, lift your gaze a little bit. Draw your hands back towards your hips. Take a nice inhale. Elbows almost behind you. And as you exhale, roll the spine, tuck under, bring the chin to the collarbone, slide the hands forward towards your knees, spreading apart your shoulder blades. And then inhale forward. A little bit of a back bend. Draw those hands back, elbows back. Exhale back. And move in that way. So now you're really moving the bell of your rib cage to move your spine. It's just another way of thinking about moving your spine, paying attention to how we hold the body. So now we're inhaling forward and exhaling back. Maybe lingering in a space for a breath or two if it feels interesting, but not forcing anything. We want to be kind and curious with how you're feeling with this movement and this breathing, rocking on the sit bones. Good. And then after this next exhale, go ahead and come back to the center of your seat. Roll your shoulders forward and up, back and down. Let those elbows hang underneath your shoulders. You feel your heart slightly lift, but your rib cage isn't flaring up. So this is when we begin to engage the core a little bit more. You want to take your hands and soften the lower ribs down into the body without rounding the spine. So soften the rib cage into the body. Feel the core engage, but the shoulders are open and the elbows are drawn back. You lift your gaze, drift your head back. Feel that core working. And we're going to use that core to march. So at any time, you could scoot back in your seat, and then when you lean back, your spine stays straight, just like we were practicing. I keep having to turn around to show you. We want to keep the spine straight for this. So having more support means you would slide back and lean into the chair without rounding the spine for couch potato, right? So keeping the spine and the rib cage level and engaging that core, or you can stay forward, whatever feels good, but hold on to your chair. And we're going to start by just lifting the heel. So you're going to inhale the left heel up, squeezing the calf muscles a little bit. Exhale, kind of let it just drop. Inhale, lift the right heel up, squeeze the calf a little bit. Exhale, just let it drop and keep going. So you're going to march. Spine nice and tall. Okay. And we want to squeeze that glute right at the top, or not the glute, sorry. We want to squeeze this. There's some of your, all kinds of good muscles in your calf muscles, but we want to give them a nice little squeeze. Little soleus push-up. Good. All kinds of good things happening in your calf muscles that can help with the rest of your practice. So you want to feel the calf muscles activate at the top of lifting the heel up, and then just relax it so the heel drops down. Good. Okay. All right, so now we're going to add more to this. So this means you might want to lean back a little bit with a straight spine. You're going to lift your left heel up and then lift your thigh up and point your toe. Ooh. And then put the toes down and drop the heel down. And then do the other side, lifting up and then lift up the toes off the floor, get the toes off on the ground, and then drop the heel back down. So keeping the spine nice and tall, you're marching. So we're feeling those thighs begin to activate a little bit, and our core is stabilizing the spine so we're not overly rounding or drifting back unless we're keeping that straight spine and leaning against the back of your chair for support. So activating your core, keeping that rib cage level. There we go. We're going to use this principle in a balance later. Nice. Very good. One more time each side, keeping that core nice and strong, and then both feet on the ground. So ankles right underneath your knees. Bring the hands to your heart, and then reset your spine again. So roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Lift the heart, lift the gaze, but keep the lower rib cage into the body. There's a little bit of stretch that can happen right here in the front of the body. Drift that head back a little bit. It's going to feel a little strange. And then you're going to inhale the arms down, out, and up, and you're going to exhale to a half forward fold. So you're only going to come halfway without rounding the spine. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hands together, hands to the heart. We're going to do that a few more times. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, just flow forward halfway. You're moving your pelvis, the spine's going along. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do this 2 more times before we begin to round. So you want to feel that core working on that halfway point of the exhale, and then come back up on the inhale and hands to the heart. Let's do that one more time. So it's our seated version of a half forward fold. Coming back up, and then hands to the heart. Now, if that feels good in the spine and you want to keep doing it, you can do that, or you can round the spine if it's safe for the body. So you're going to inhale the arms out and up. You're going to tip that pelvis forward, keep that spine nice and long, and then begin to round after the halfway point. Take a full breath here. And then on the next inhale, root into the feet. Let the arms come out and up. Straighten your spine by the halfway mark and keep going. And then exhale the hands to the heart. Rest in the breath here. Good. Keep going. Inhale the arms down, out, and up. Exhale, flowing forward, keeping that spine straight to that halfway point, and then rounding after that. Stay here for a breath. Inhale, root into the feet. The arms come out, straighten the spine, and come back up. Exhale, hands to the heart. 2 more times. Whenever you're ready, you can go with your own breathing pattern. Just keeping that spine nice and long as you can before you round. So feeling that pelvis move. Hold for a breath. Then your next inhale brings you back up. And then the hands to the heart. And we'll do it one more time. Take your time. Flowing forward, feeling that core stabilize before you round the spine. And then coming back up, stabilizing the spine again. Good. And hands to the heart. So we want to still use the same level bell principle of the rib cage for twisting. And we want to keep the head drifted back for twisting also. So we're going to do gentle twisting and we'll go deeper later. So let's have the hands kind of float down from the shoulders. And you're going to have your front of the rib cage drifting into the body, but lift your gaze and drift your head back. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. So notice when you roll your shoulders up, back, and down, if it takes your rib cage. Because sometimes when we have tight shoulders, it's going to flare your ribs. So we want to soften those ribs again. And it's from this level space we want to do a twist. So inhale your arms out and up. Keep that nice level rib cage. Exhale, just rotate a little bit to the right and flow the arms down, but keep the head drifting back a little bit. Keep the rib cage level. Inhale, the arms out and up, coming forward. Exhale to the other side. You can do a gentle twist in the seat as well, and just keep moving. You want to keep that nice level rib cage. Head drifting back, your gaze is raised. So we're not leaning forward. It's not your deepest twist, it's just what's available as you rotate that rib cage around. Moving from your center and the twist. Good. One more time, gently twisting it to the right, and then one more time to the left. No rushing. Keep breathing. The breath is driving the movement, and then hands to the heart. And pause and rest here. Drift the head back, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Level out your rib cage. You want to feel your core and that outer layer of your core abdominal muscles activate by keeping the front of your ribs in. That's only if you have a tendency to flare, because we want to sit up tall, right? But we want to soften as well. All right, so let's use that half forward fold principle to come to standing. So you're going to draw your heels just slightly behind your knees, a little closer to your chair. Your feet are hip distance apart. You're going to draw your hands on the thighs towards your hips, okay? And then you're going to level out your rib cage, roll your shoulders up, back, and down, drift the head back. And we're going to move the pelvis into that half forward fold to come to standing. So take a nice inhale, think length. Exhale, tip forward, lean into the thighs, and come on up with a straight spine. Good, because you already activated everything there. Nice. And we're going to just stand in front of our chair and do some drifting here. So your feet are that comfortable hip distance apart for a mountain pose. Okay. And you're going to roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Turn the palms of your hands to face forward. Sorry, I've been suppressing a sneeze for like 2 minutes. That's really hard to do. And then we're going to drift. So it's a nice slow movement with a nice comfortable breathing pattern. You're inhaling, drifting the weight forward towards the balls of the feet, towards the toes without lifting the heels. Exhale, drifting back into the heels, and then maybe lifting the toes, but keeping the base of the toes, the balls of the feet rooted down. And then inhale, toes come down to the floor as you lean forward, and then exhale back. Ooh, try not to go too far back. So I'm having you lift the toes if that's okay for your body when you lean back into the heels to keep the base of the toes firm on the floor, but to activate the whole foot, and then coming forward again, just making some contact between the brain and your toes. So when you drift back with the weight into the heels, the toes lift up a little bit, but you can feel the base of the big toe firm on the floor. And then when you lean forward, you feel those toes grip into the floor, but the heels remain on the floor. Good. Let's do this side to side now. So you're going to lean to the right, and you're going to feel your feet roll, but not peel off of the floor. And then lean to the left. You want you to feel your whole body work to keep you balanced. So your center is moving away from your plumb line, right? And so your whole body is working to keep you balanced. But this is something we need to kind of practice every day with all the snow and the ice outside, right? Feeling that contact in the feet, the inner and outer spaces of the feet, the pinky toe side and the big toe side, the outside and the inside of your heel, feeling that rolling sensation, feeling your muscles in the legs, all the way up into your hips, all the way to your spine. Soften your shoulders, soften your breath so that you're flexible, but strong, rooted. Yeah, nice. Now we're going to do a whole circle. So you're going to go ahead and lean to the right, lean forward, lean to the left, and lean back, maybe the toes raise. And then lean to the right and lean forward, toes come to the ground. Lean to the left and lean back, toes raise a little bit as you sweep around the back part of your circle. So your whole foot is getting involved in balancing you here, and you want to try to feel that. You're still anchored, so it's like that waving grass, right? Those tall pampas grasses, they're firmly rooted, but moving, right? Let's go in the opposite direction. Go in an opposite circle. Feel all parts of the foot, each foot, shifting, taking on the weight, getting strong in the feet, feeling your core stabilize and be nice and strong. All right. We're creating those pathways in the brain to remember that you can be rooted and flexible at the same time. When the earth moves beneath us, sometimes it feels like it does, doesn't it? That step is not always where we thought it was. Then come back to center. Lovely, lovely. Let's step behind our chair so that we're facing the back of your chair. Okay? And we're going to do those half forward folds towards your chair. So you just stay as close to the chair as you wish for support, and get those feet hip distance apart and set yourself up. So roll the shoulders up, back and down, level out the rib cage, lift your gaze and drift the head back. Good. You're going to inhale the arms down, out and up. As you exhale, soften the knees and tip the pelvis forward and come towards a half forward fold. Your hands can go to your thighs or to the chair. Next inhale, bend the knees a little deeper, lift your head and chest, keep that spine straight and the arms come out and up. And exhale the hands to the heart. So we're really using the power of our legs here. When you're ready, inhale the arms down, out and up. Exhale, soften the knees, tip the pelvis forward. Do a half forward fold. And then inhale, bend the knees a little bit more. Arms come out and up. Nice straight spine. Exhale, hands to the heart. So we're trying not to round the spine. One more time. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, soften the knees, tip forward into that half forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lift your chest, push off of the floor, and exhale the hands into your heart. Lovely, lovely. All right, so we're going to try to do a standing back bend here. We're not doing anything crazy. It sounds worse than it is. So first we're going to do it is pretend like you have back pockets. You may have back pockets, and you're putting your hands in your back pockets. So the heels of your hands are resting on the space just at the top of that pelvic bowl back there or at your sacrum. And you're drawing your elbows back. So your spine is nice and open in the front of the body. And then you're going to squeeze your glutes in. You're pushing your pelvis forward a little bit. There you go. Then lift the heart, lift the gaze just a little bit. You're not throwing your head back, but we're keeping the front of the body open, squeezing the glutes and lifting the heart to the sky. Make sure you can breathe here. And then go ahead and relax the arms next to your body. Relax the lower spine and just see how that felt in your system. Good. Now you can continue to put the hands in your back pockets, or you can hold your wrists behind you. So what this means is that this is an inner rotation of your arms before your hands go back behind you. Maybe you can hold your wrists or just your hands, or hands in the back pockets, directing the elbows back. And we'll do the gentle back bend again. So get that. Feel the rib cage be level first. Squeeze your glutes in, and then begin to lift your spine out of your pelvic bowl, and the rib cage kind of moves forward, and you lift your gaze, and the heart lifts to the sky. Find your breath here. You want to think length and then lifting the heart to the sky. You don't have to drop that head all the way back. In fact, you can get a little more nice stretch on the top of the shoulders if you bring your gaze down. So your heart is lifted, your shoulders are back, but your gaze is forward, putting a nice stretch along the side of the neck into the shoulders. Go ahead and let go and come back and kind of replace that rib cage. Good. And let your arms drift next to your side and see how that felt in the body. Good. All right, so you're going to take your chair. Actually, for you in the studio, keep your chair where it is so it stays on the sticky pads. And you're just gonna move to the right. Good. And then you're gonna take a wide-legged stance. Okay, good. So that chair is reachable with the left hand. Okay, and you're gonna rotate your your left leg out. So rotate on the heel, the toes facing to the left, the knee facing to the left. You feel your hip shift just a little bit. Pick up that back heel, rotate the right thigh inward. So you're swinging that heel outward. So your hip will went along for the ride, but we're gonna do that twist. So let's level out your rib cage first. So hold the bottom of your rib cage. Level out the rib cage. So if you feel like you're flaring the front bell of the rib cage up, soften the rib cage down, and then rotate your heart to face forward. There's a little twist that we were working on, right? Good. So you can have this front knee, your left knee, be a little soft if that feels more comfortable, but we're going to move your hips a little bit. So bring your hands to the hip thigh joint, and we're just going to move the bells of the hips a little bit. Yeah. There we go, kind of swishing side to side. Your hip bowl is actually facing at a diagonal, but your heart is facing forward. Good. Just a little swish. Good. So let's swing your hips to the right. You're hinging to the left and tip. Maybe that chair is there for you. Keeping the spine long, your rib cage level, right? Inhale, root into the feet and come back up. Exhale, sweep the hips over to the right and tip over to the left. Keep your heart open, but your rib cage level, and then come back up. Good, and then go ahead and do that again. Sweep the hips over to the right, tip, and you can hold on to the chair if that feels comfortable, or if your hand can reach the seat of the chair, that's fine. Bring your right hand to your heart. Notice your front ribs. You want them slightly into the body. You're not rounding your spine, but you're not overdoing it in your spine either. Lift your heart with your hand to the sky, and if it feels okay, let those fingers reach up. Your gentle triangle pose here, we're not overdoing. Drift your head back just a little bit. Rotate your head maybe a little bit to see what feels good for your neck. If your gaze feels more comfortable looking straight forward rather than up at that hand. But notice if your head is drifting forward of the rest of the spine, and you drift the back of the head back just a little bit. Good. Make sure you're breathing. Good. Next, inhale, root into your feet and bring yourself back up. Exhale, drop that hand down. Lovely. And then you're going to bring your toes forward and the heels back. And then you're going to heel toe your feet back towards each other. And just pause. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. Level out the rib cage. Kind of lift the heart, lift the gaze. The head drifts back a little bit. You see how that triangle pose landed in your system. Be curious and honest about what's going on in the body. And get the wisdom you need to move more carefully. Good. And then we're going to go and shimmy on over to the other side so that the chair is on the outside of the foot when you take that wide-legged stance. Good. So you can have the chair is reachable. Okay. So let's rotate the right thigh outward, spinning on the heel, the toes facing to the right, and then pick up the back left heel and spin the thigh inwards, kind of rotating inwards, and feel your hips go along for the right. They're not facing all the way to the right, but they are slightly rotated. And then you're going to find your rib cage, you're going to level it out, and then you're going to move the heart, the rib cage back to face forward. Good. And adjust your feet so you feel comfortable. Good. And slip those hands to the hip thigh joint. And you're just going to swing your hips. So now we have bells of the hips, bells of the rib cage. I'm going to swing those hips a little bit. Good. So swing those hips to the left. You're hinging in the right side. Tip over. Soften the front ribs into the body. Push into the feet and inhale. Come on up. Exhale, swing those hips and tip over. You can soften this front knee as much as you want. Inhale, root into the feet, come back up. Feel that core turn on. Exhale, go ahead and sweep over. We're going to go through this one more time before we hold. Root into the feet and feel the core bring you back up. And then we're going to hold. So swing those hips, tip over to the right. Your hand can come to the top of the chair, or you can bring your hand down to the seat, whatever feels comfortable. And you're going to bring your left hand to your heart. You want your ribs to be level still. So if the front ribs are flaring up and you feel some strain in the back body, soften those ribs in, activate that core, and then lift your heart with your hand to the sky. If your hand wants to lift up, you can let it. Or put the hand where it feels comfortable. We just want the heart lifted. So we're feeling this little bit of rotation in your torso. Drift your head back if it's floating forward. Maybe rotate the head a few times to find the right space to land your gaze that isn't feeling compromising to your neck, and you can still breathe. Good. One more breath here. And then inhale, root into the feet and go ahead and come back up. Exhale, float those hands down. Let the toes face forward, heels face back. And then heel, toe, your feet back towards mountain pose. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Lift the heart, drift the head back, soften the ribs. So you can feel that core working all the time to stabilize your spine. Great. Can you breathe here? Nice. So you're going to pick up your chair, the back of your chair. You're going to rotate it so your seat of the chair is facing left side of the room, and then you are going to turn and face forward. So your left hip goes on the outside of the back of the chair. Good. I'm going to turn a little more to the side so you can see me. Starting with the feet being hip distance apart in mountain pose, place your right hand on your hip, place your left hand on the chair, step straight back with that right foot and drop the heel towards the midline and bend that front knee. So there is space between the feet. So they are still hip distance apart. The back foot is not behind the front foot. Your hips should be facing forward. Okay, bending that front knee just a little bit. Now, when you come into this grounded warrior one pose here, notice what you're doing with your spine. You want that back heel firm into the ground. And you want to notice if you're flaring your ribs. Sometimes we want a back bend, but today we're focusing on having that strong neutral spine and supported spine with the abs. So taking those front ribs and drifting them down into the body. But rolling the shoulders up, back and down, and they don't take your rib cage, drifting your head back. So lifting your gaze a little bit. There you go. And then you're going to let that right arm drift down, fingertips pointing to the floor. You're going to inhale that arm forward and up. That front knee is bent. We're going to move. You're going to exhale, straighten that front knee, and you're going to sweep that palm of the hand behind you and lift it up behind you. You turn on the triceps there, and then go ahead and turn that palm to face forward. Inhale, scoop the shoulder and the palm of the hand forward and up. Bend that front knee just a little bit. Exhale, sweep it back. So a little dynamic warrior one pose here. Moving with your breath, rooting into that back foot, trying not to overdo the flaring of the ribs, trying to keep the core nice and strong, the spine nice and straight. Good. A lot going on here. Nice. Scooping forward and up. And then releasing back and lifting behind you a little bit. Let's go ahead and stay in that warrior one pose and keep those ribs soft. So feel that core working to keep the spine stable. It doesn't matter how high you lift that arm. It's what feels comfortable in your shoulder. Good. Nice. And then we'll do a nice little side stretch here. So keep those front ribs into the body. Take an inhale. Reach up through your fingertips and exhale a little bit to the side. Just a little bit. Inhale back up to center. Exhale to the side. Do this a few more times, trying to keep the spine nice and neutral. Try to keep the front of that core stable. And the next time you go to the side, you're going to gently hold. So it's not your biggest side stretch. You're going to root into that back foot. So push that back foot into the ground. And if that top arm is talking to you, drop that hand down to your hip at any time. Just opening up the right side of your body, make sure you're breathing. You're breathing into that whole side. If you can, rotate the hand and the arm so the palm of the hand starts to face behind you. A little extra stretch there. Good. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, float that hand down. Push off and step forward. Feet hip distance apart. You're holding onto the chair with the left hand. Now bring the hands to your hip on the right side. Shifting all the weight into your left foot closest to the chair. Begin to lift the thigh. Remember the marching? So we have those toes on the ground. You want your hips nice and level, your rib cage nice and level, just lifting the thigh, not hiking up the hip, lifting the toes away from the floor. So it's not about how high you lift the thigh. It's about keeping a nice long torso, hips level, rib cage level, pointing the toes. And then we'll do a few marching things ourselves, letting those toes come down and then lift back up. Good, finding all that work being done in the low back and into the thigh. Good, and then you're gonna hold up one more time. If you wanna raise your hand up, you could raise both hands up to be Karate Kid, or you can put one hand down on the chair. Keep breathing. Drift that head back if it's drifting forward. One more nice inhale, and on an exhale, float everything down, foot back to the ground, and pause and feel the work you did. Be with the outcome. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Soften the rib cage, lift the heart, drift the head back. We're counterposing the things we do all day that are in front of us. Let's take a nice cleansing breath here. Inhale deeply through the nose. Let it go. Let's do the other side. So you're going to pick up your chair and rotate it around so that the seat faces the right side. When you turn to face forward, your right hip is next to the back of the chair. And your feet are that comfortable hip distance apart. Okay? And place the left hand on your hip. You want to keep your feet that distance apart as you step back with that left foot and drop the heel slightly towards the midline and begin to bend that front knee. We're not shooting that front knee past your ankle, but we do want to root the back heel into the ground, and you want your hips facing forward. Now, sometimes for this particular pose, you could widen the space between your feet after you step back. And I didn't talk about this on the other side. You could toe heel your front foot towards the chair, away from the midline, to widen your stance to keep the hips facing forward. Otherwise, we kind of open up to the side a little bit, right? So shoulders and hips facing forward. Good. Let that left arm drift down from your shoulder. And just turn that palm forward. And you're going to inhale, kind of scooping the shoulder and the hand forward and up. You're going to stay here briefly. You're going to soften those front ribs into the body. So you want the spine nice and straight rather than a really deep back bend. Good. Take another inhale here. As you exhale, turn that palm, straighten that front knee, sweep that arm back and lift it up gently behind you if that's okay for the body. And then rotate that palm to face forward. Inhale, scooping forward and up, bending that front knee. Exhale, sweeping back and lifting the arm behind you. Turning on those triceps. So flowing with your breath. Good. Drift your head back. I'm only telling you that because my head is always drifting forward. So you're going to drift your head back a little bit, raise your gaze a little bit. Keeping this nice, strong, stabilized core and spine. Nice. And you're going to inhale the arm forward and up. You're going to gently hold here. The palm of the hand or the arm is kind of rotated outward, so the palm of the hand is kind of facing behind you, if that's okay. Doesn't matter how close this arm is to your head, it's what feels comfortable. You can drop this hand, this left hand down at any time to your hip. If that arm is talking to you, you're going to take that side stretch. Okay, so root into that back heel. Take a nice inhale, get those ribs into the front of the body. Exhale a little bit to the side, to the right. And then inhale back to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the side. A couple more times. This last time you move to the side, we're going to gently hold to the side, finding that space in the left side of the body. Kind of letting that hand face slightly behind you. Even the arm can drift forward a little bit if it feels like it's uncomfortable, and really taking your rib cage to flare up. You want your rib cage softened into your body. Feel that back foot firm into the ground, that front knee bent. Take another nice big breath here. And then inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, float down and go ahead and push off, step forward, feet back to being hip distance apart. Let the arms just drift down from the shoulders and the neck. Drift the head back. Feel the openness in the chest without overdoing it in the back of the spine. The rib cage nice and level. Good. And we'll do our balance pose on this side. So holding on to the chair, feet starting out hip distance apart, switch all the weight into your right foot, bend the left knee, toes on the ground. You can put the left hand on your hip. Keeping those hips level, you're going to lift those toes off the ground, lift the thigh, but keep the side body nice and long. So no hiking, right? We want to drift that hip down while the thigh lifts up. And then we can tap. Do the marching. Ooh. Having the thigh be lifted without your torso doing a lot of the work. We want the thigh to do the work. Actually, your torso is doing the work. We're just not hiking that hip or keeping the side body nice and long. And then go ahead and lift up and hold. You can lift that arm out to the side. If you want to lift both hands, you can, or at least try it out and then find your chair again. Keep breathing. Lift your gaze. Drift the head slightly back. Finding our balance on this side. Keep breathing. One more inhale. Exhale, drift back down to mountain pose. Pause and be here. Rib cage level. Shoulders rolled up, back and down. Head raised and drifted back just a little bit. Finding space between the jaw and the collarbones. Finding your breath here. Feeling both feet firm on the floor, balancing out the weight in your feet. The balls of the feet, the toes, the heel. Take your chair and face it back forward, just like we had at the beginning of class. And then coming around and standing in front of your chair and doing our dramatic introduction on both sides. Chair is there, chair is there. Never taking it for granted. We're going to use that standing half forward fold to come to being seated. So it's all about pelvic bowl movement, right? So I'll go to the side here. Pelvic bowl movement. So place your hands on the hip thigh joint right here. So the index fingers are right at that hip thigh joint rather than the top of the hip bowl. So you can feel the pelvic bowl move. So soften your knees, have some softness in your knees. And then make sure your rib cage is not flaring. It's softened into the body, but your gaze is lifted. Take a nice inhale, think lengthen the spine. Exhale, you can soften the knees a little more. Tip that pelvis forward. You're coming towards a half forward fold and then starting to bend the knees a little deeper, finding the chair and easing yourself down. There we go. We made it. We made it down. Good. We'll do some side stretching and adding a little twist here. So let's have the feet come together towards each other, the thighs towards each other. You're sitting towards the front part of your seat and you're rocked slightly forward on your sit bones, but you're not overdoing it in the back body, right? Softening the rib cage, rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Good. Let's take your left leg and open the gate. So the heel is underneath your knee. Take the hand on your heart on the right side, right hand to the heart, and then rotate your rib cage towards the right thigh. So you're facing a little more forward, because sometimes when we move that leg out, your body goes with it, right? So you want to rotate back. And then take that left forearm and let it rest near your hip. Turn that palm up to face the sky. Let your this is your right hand, drift down from your shoulder, straighten out or level your rib cage. And then inhale that arm out and up. Exhale to the side. Maybe the forearm drifts towards your knee on that left side. Inhale back up. Exhale to the side. Inhale back up. Exhale to the side and gently hold. Drift your head back. And then rotate your head from side to side, just finding a comfortable space to land your gaze. What feels good in your neck here in this side stretch? Good. And then we want to engage our core a little bit more. So let's lift the left forearm off of your knee and find your side stretch. So your core is a little more engaged, right? Instead of leaning into your structure. Good. Go ahead and inhale your way all the way back up. Exhale, let that arm flow down. Bring the thigh and the foot back in. Pause and feel. So always adjusting the spine. Shoulders rolled back and down. Drifting the head back. Maybe you can, if I say it enough, we might hear it in our sleep. Drift your head back. Let's do the other side. Let's open up the gate on the right side, the heel underneath the knee. Left hand on the heart and rotate your torso back towards the left inner thigh. Good. And take the right arm, let the forearm sit on your thigh, let that palm of the hand face the sky, left arm drifting from the shoulders. Level out your rib cage. Drift your head back. Inhale that arm out and up. Exhale, move over to the side. And then inhale back up. Exhale to the side. Let's do this a couple more times. Then this last time, we move to the side. And gently hold. Okay, gently hold. Draw the head back like you're leaning back, and then tick-tock the head a little bit from side to side. And find the place where your gaze feels comfortable for your neck. It's just we do have a tendency to drift the head forward, right? So find that comfortable space. And we want to engage your core a little bit more. So if it is okay and accessible for you, lift that right arm off of your thigh, but you're still reaching to the side. There we go. Front ribs in. Get that core getting it activated. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale, float that arm down. Go ahead and bring the feet back together, knees back together, replacing the spine. Roll the shoulders up, back and down, and let the rib cage get level. Lift your heart a little bit, because you can lift your heart center without flaring the ribs, right? You feel this openness as the top of your heart. There's a little bit of stretch that can happen here. It's very little. It's the sense that you're lifting your heart and drifting your head back. And it's from this neutral space in your spine, everything's on plumb line. The head is lined up with the rest of the spine. This is where we safely twist. So you can keep your feet together, or you can take your left ankle and cross it over your right, keeping the thighs together. Or if it's okay, you can cross the left thigh over the right. The thighs are still activated. So even if the thigh is on top of the other thigh, you feel this inner rotation of your thighs. That spine is nice and tall. The rib cage is level. The left hand is back behind you. And the right hand is drifting across midline towards the outside of the left thigh. So you're finding that nice level rib cage. So notice if you're flaring, get that level rib cage, lift your gaze, drift the head back. Take a nice inhale, think lengthen the spine. Exhale, move from your center, your solar plexus, and rotate to the left. Inhale, unwind, heart comes back to face center. Exhale, rotate to the left again. Inhale, unwind, heart comes back to center. Exhale, come back into your gentle twist. Let your head rotate a little bit to the left, but have the head drift back. Notice if the head is drifting forward and the chin is dropping, drift the head back a little bit. Don't overdo. But we are going to pay attention to that left shoulder. We're rotating to the left. You're going to roll that left shoulder forward, up, back, and down. Feeling that shoulder blade move in to the body towards the spine. Keep breathing. Don't overdo the twist where the breath is no longer accessible. Soften, underdo slightly so that the breath is here first. Good. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, unwind. And then uncross and pause. Set up the spine and the rib cage and the shoulders and the head. And feel the effect of the twist on your body. Breathe. Let's do the other side. So feet can be together, thighs can be together, or right ankle crosses over left, or right thigh crosses over left. Keeping those thighs active. They're rotating into each other. It's nice tall spine, soften the rib cage, drift the head back. Right hand behind you, left hand across the midline on the right thigh. So make sure you're not flaring your ribs. Inhale, kind of lift. Exhale, rotate gently to the right. Inhale, unwind. So everything's coming from your center. And then exhale, move back in. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, move back in, gently holding the twist, making sure you're not flaring the front of the rib cage up, but drifting the head slightly back as it's rotated slightly to the right, not overdoing. Finding your breath. So we're rotating the torso towards the right. So we're going to work on the right shoulder. Bring the shoulder forward, up, back and down, just like we've been rolling it the whole time tonight. You're just slightly drawing that shoulder blade a little closer towards your spine, a little deeper into the back body. Keep breathing. Just gently wringing out the tension and breathing into the spaces we're creating. One more nice breath here. And your next inhale, slowly unwind. Uncross, feet being back to about hip distance apart with the knees. Hands resting on the thighs. Draw the elbows back to hang underneath the shoulders. And gently roll the shoulders forward, up, back and down, and level out your rib cage and drift your head back. You're going to find the sweet spot in those cues that work for you, that you feel a little more stable, a little more supported, but not overdoing, and certainly not doing anything that isn't wise. And take in the practice. Take in the practice in your body. Breathe into the spaces you've created. Breathe into the tension that still remains. Included that too. Not judging what is here, but being with what is here with kindness. Good. You're going to inhale your arms out and up, gather all that benefit. Exhale, bring it all down into your heart. You take the benefit and the wisdom with you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Namaste. Ooh, that forward fold feels really good, huh? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good job, yogis.